I dreamed a dream, and now it seems that dreams come back to me. So, for those of you who don't know, Dying Light is getting some new DLC where it adds new stories and look, you know I'm bullshitting. You've seen the title. Everybody knows the news now. Everyone's gonna know what they're all gonna be talking about today, for the next couple of days, for the history forever. Spider-Man joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, I'm just in shock. I mean, we all hoped, we kind of wanted it, but I think we were starting to get to a point where we accepted that Wolverine and Spider-Man weren't going to be in the Avengers, and we are going to have all these little little separate universes of these different characters and movies, and it sucked, but it is what it is. And then there was the Sony hacks, and we got excited, and like, it's gonna happen, and they were talking about it, and no, fell through, wasn't gonna happen. And then today, I mean, I don't really know what more there is to say besides I think Spider-Man definitely deserves a second chance. After the train wreck that was Amazing Spider-Man 2, which isn't really the film's fault, really, because they were trying to set up the universe and the Sinister Six and all that stuff. They're trying to do all those things in one movie that Marvel had six to do. I'm happy that Spider-Man gets another chance. Not simply because he's my favorite character. I mean, I got extremely faded, amazing Spider-Man T-shirt, but because I do think the Amazing Spider-Man films are good. I think they're great. Um, so that's a big thing on everyone's mind now is he's going to be in the Marvel movies at some point. They just haven't said when at some point, which is still awesome. Even if it's 30 years from now, I'll wait for that day. The big thing for me, I know a lot of people are going to say, what does this mean for Marvel, for Spider-Man, blah, 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 blah. The thing I wanted to talk about is, again, Amazing Spider-Man. I think that is a great movie. Now, I'm going to fully admit I have not seen the second one, simply for the fact I've heard all the bad news. I've seen like the scenes. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I've seen the scenes people can complain about, the stuff where people are like this doesn't make sense and all the So I am aware of the problem with Ultimate Spider-Man 2. But the one thing I think a lot of people agree, which was the best part, was the relationship between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. Um, and I think Andrew Garfield is a great Spider-Man. I know a lot of people get upset. It's like he's too hot or he's too sexy and what's with the skateboarding. Spider-Man doesn't skateboard. First off, I'd like to point out to Tony Hawk where he does it many, many times, as does Iron Man and Kiss, but that's besides the point. But yeah, a lot of people are upset. They're like, I don't like Andrew Garfield. He's too suave. He's too sexy. Um, and the honest to God answer is like we've already seen Tobey Maguire do like the science, like the nerdy geeky dude who's just like an outsider. And I do admit like I do prefer that version, but by the same token, I very much appreciate what Amazing Spider-Man did, and I hope they don't change it simply because people didn't like it. I know a lot of people are talking about, oh, do Miles Morales, do Miles Morales. Um, and as an outsider comic person, I don't know much about his character. Like I know the basics, but I don't really know having just another version of Spider-Man is necessarily going to be better. Because I very much appreciate what they did in the Amazing Spider-Man. The fact that he was still an outsider, he was still a loner, he still kind of kept to himself. Uh, and like I said, a lot of people are upset, like, oh, well, he skateboards. But again, he doesn't do it socially. He's still very much, introspective. He keeps to himself. He's still a very smart kid. You get that. He still gets you has a great sense. So it all has the same basic core things that make Spider-Man Spider-Man. Um, so I know movie studios aren't going to see this. Most people who have any impact in these movies are not going to see this. But still, I'd like to put it, just into the ether, into the nebulous, whatever, that I I I, I am happy and I'm excited. I just want to make sure that at some point, we do get Andrew Garfield. And it's funny because a couple days ago I was thinking about this, and again, I'm not a comic book fan, so if I start talking crap, feel free to correct me. Probably won't care, but I did think, again, knowing just the very basics, I'm like, well, what if Infinity Wars is going to be two parts? What if in part one Thanos gets all the Infinity Stones or gems or whatever, puts it in the gauntlet, shit goes crazy, and he rips open like a hole in the universe, and then out of those walk out, Spider-Man and Wolverine, and then that kind of connects them to all these other universes. So we can still have the separate ones, but they're all kind of connected in this way. I know the Wolverine thing is probably not going to happen, and in the grand scheme of things, I don't think they're going to wait, I think it's 2017, 2018 for Spider-Man to pop up. But if anyone's looking for story ideas, there you go. I think the main thing we just need to be happy for is we're living in a day and age where movie studios are not just looking at the bottom dollar. They're not looking at the box office and stuff like that. They're treating characters as a brand, as not necessarily how much money did this make, but how much love do people have for this? How much will they tweet about it? Much will they write about it? How much will they do stupid blogs? So I just want to, I guess, applaud Sony for having the balls to say, we don't got this, we don't know what we're doing. We still want to keep the character, we still want to make the money, but we're willing to give the control to someone else. And in the end run, Kevin Feige's a great guy. He's a great, you know, nurturer of all these different properties coming under one umbrella. So in the end game, this is only but a benefit for everyone. So I'm just gonna sit here, just think about what could be. I mean, people. We're living in a world where, first off, the Avengers was mind blowing in its own fact, but this year alone, we're living in a world where Spider-Man will at some point be in the Avengers. We're getting another Jurassic Park movie, which looks to be good, and then Star Wars 7. I mean, we're only in February, and it's gonna be a really fun year, guys. So, till next time.